folks, it's James Guttman. It's HiPod, I'm Dad. Welcome back to another edition of the podcast. Thank you so much for finding me. Whether you found me on HiPodI'mDad.com, Audible, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're there. Maybe on YouTube, you can see me at HiBlog I'm Dad. It is up midnight Friday every single week. Brand new podcast, video, audio, across the board. New blogs, HiBlogI'mDad.com, Monday, Wednesday. We're overloaded. Hi, James Guttman on social media. H.I. James Guttman. You name it, we got it. I appreciate you guys taking the time to check me out and to follow the work that we do here and the things that I write about. It's been a good week, and I'll tell you about it. For those of you guys who've been following along, you guys know that on Wednesday I got a chance to write about my daughter. And for those who have been around from the beginning, we had one of the readers, Amanda Shreve. She was one of the first people to do back when HiPod I'm Dad used to have the moment of sanity every week. She was one of the first people to do it, but she's been reading from the beginning, and she remembers that when this blog first started, it was mostly about my daughter, Olivia. And the reason why is I couldn't tell you anything about Lucas. I didn't know why he did half the stuff he did. He was young. He was first emerging on his autism journey. I was still worried about him running into traffic. I was worried about him never understanding me, never knowing who I was, never acknowledging me. But her I got. Olivia was my buddy. She was my best friend, man, for years. She would come home from school. She would come into my office. She would monopolize my time until bedtime. We would watch TV shows and The Next Step and The Brady Bunch and just so many things. And I knew then that one day that was going to be different. Not gone. I hesitate to say gone because we still watch TV. We're currently watching Schitt's Creek when we get a chance, and we watch Big Brother in the summer when we can. So it doesn't necessarily go away, but it's different. It's not every day. She can't be my best friend forever. She has a life. She's a teenager. I was a teenager. I have vivid memories of being 17. So when the blog first began, I would write about her a great deal. And one of the things I wrote and always stuck with me was "Let Your Princess Grow Up." And it was an article about this commercial, this a Subaru commercial, where the father has his daughter in the driver's seat of the car, and she's like little, and all of a sudden, like in a blink of an eye, she's like old enough to drive herself. And I wrote about it back then, about how I knew that was happening. And when she's 17, it's going to happen, and I get it. And now she's 17, and now she drives, and now she's a lady. And you don't even realize it because you feel like your kids are growing up, right? And if you're listening to this and you have a kid who's like 10, 11, 12, you think your kid's growing up. And you think to yourself, my God, look at these pictures. This isn't the baby I remember. You have no idea. The pictures that you're seeing now, in a couple of years, you're going to look back and be like, look how little they were then. And that happened with Olivia. Olivia is 17. She had her junior prom. And we take pictures next to each other. And I'm like, who are you? How is this my kid? How is this my daughter? You're a baby. And I would always write about that. When I did get to write about her, I would write about, like, how does a baby drive? How does the baby... There's always a joke about that, but it's true. And for those of you guys who follow the blog and you know the evolution of the blog, I wrote about her a lot in the beginning. And then slowly it started to morph a little bit. I wrote more and more about Lucas. I figured Lucas out a little bit more. I get Lucas. I understand Lucas now. But also she was getting older and she wanted her privacy. And it was to the point where I would want to write about her. And I would go to her, I go, I'm going to write this article about you. Let me send you some pictures. You tell me which ones I could use. And she would say no to all of them. And I'd be like, do you not want me to write about you? She'd be like, no, you can, but I don't want you. So I just didn't do it. I didn't want to be one of those parents who puts their kid on the air if they don't want to be on there. She wants me to write about her and she's cool with it, cool. If she doesn't, never, And that's why even with Lucas, I know people are listening to this going, what about your son? He's nonverbal. He can't say anything. Yeah, but I do make sure that the things I write about Lucas, if he was verbal, that he would say no to, I don't. Like you guys know, I don't write about, potty training or, bath time or things like that. I mean, he's a 14-year-old boy. Whatever he does, whether I do, and by me saying that isn't an admission that I'm bathing him or I'm helping him in the bathroom. I'm not saying anything either way because I think that's part of the privacy. That's just something that's just off limits. I don't talk about that with him. I don't talk about that with anybody. So as the years went by, I wrote about her less. But I never stopped valuing her as one of the top people in my life. And I remember, we've had ups and downs, and we had, incidents even recently where sometimes you have to remind your kids of what they mean to you. You know, you think we go through this every day and she sees what I do and she sees that I drop everything for her and I'll drive her where she needs to go and I'll do these things for her. But sometimes I need to hear it. So I remember we were in the car and we're dealing with, you know, insanity as, you know, life goes on, all twisted, as they say. And I said to her, I go, listen, I said, do you understand something? I'm like, I don't write about you because you asked me not to, okay? I'm like, well, okay. But every single thing I write about Lucas, that's you. Like when I'm like, Lucas is the number one in my life, and I'm like, that's you. I'm like, I would throw someone in front of a speeding bus for you and then pay them to back over the person again. I mean, you talk about ride or die in this family. Like, I've got my kids' backs. And the reason why is because, especially with Olivia, I know that every single thing she does is with good intentions because I made this kid and I raised this kid and I know who she is. And I've watched her go through life and I've watched her become a better person. And for those of you who don't know her, holy God, this kid, she gets grades like I can't even like imagine. She comes back to me and she's just like a 99. I'm like, what are you doing? How do you get a 99 average? When I was a kid, that wasn't even like a thing. It was like I was just trying to like get through class. You know, I mean, I was forging like notes and stuff. Like, it was bad. As time went on, it got a little bad. Um, but yeah, dude, she works. She has a work ethic like I've never seen before. And it's the kind of thing where now I feel like I have a work ethic now. But when I was her age, I didn't. So I don't know where it kind of it came from. I guess it sprouted early. She works so much, like constantly working. She has 2 jobs on her own. Nobody makes her do anything. I don't make her do anything. But she is my number one girl. I have 2 kids, man. I have a boy and I have a girl. I have a neurotypical girl and I have a boy with nonverbal autism. The two of them are so different, yet so the same, but really, like on paper, very different. And it allows me to have this unique relationship with both of them where they both are number one in their category. Lucas and I, my son, has a relationship with me unlike I have with anybody else. I can look at Lucas and I can talk. I was on the phone the other day with someone, and as I'm talking to this person, Lucas is walking around and he wanted food and stuff, and I had an entire conversation with him without saying a word because I don't need to. I look over him on the phone, I'm listening, I'm like, see, this is one of the, before I get into this, is one of the reasons why you need to subscribe on YouTube because I'm doing the whole thing. So just bear with me. If you're on Spotify, if you're on HiPod, just give me a second. So I look at Lucas and I go, and he left the room and he came back and I gave him food. Um, just to narrate it, I was touching my mouth and doing all sorts of hand motions and things like that. So I'm allowed to have the most unique relationships with both of my kids. Like Lucas is my number one person in that category. There's nobody I have that kind of relationship with. Olivia is a neurotypical kid, and I have tons of neurotypical relationships in my life, and she is number one in that category, which means that basically out of like 16 quintillion, I don't know how many people are on Earth, man, I'm probably completely wrong. Out of everybody on Earth, Olivia is number one in terms of people who can talk in a relationship with me. I don't know a lot of nonverbal people. Lucas is number one for that, but Lucas is unique in that I can carry on these conversations with him and we have this bond and we've built these things together that I've built with him and I've never built with anybody else. I've never had the need to, and I've never had the reason to, and I've never wanted to. He's my guy. She's my girl. This is my family. And I wrote in the thing, man, I've had people try to, come between, people, try to, make things more about them than my kids. And it's always been the same thing, man. My kids come first. And if anybody's in my life, whether it's a friend, whether it's a relationship, whatever it happens to be, that person is a part of the group, right? You can be a part of this group. You can't be above anybody or below anybody. My kids aren't. Olivia is not above Lucas. Lucas is not above Olivia. I'm not above anybody. We're all part of the thing. And that's what I'm trying in my life. You want to find people who belong there. And yeah, I want my daughter to know that she'll always come first and that she'll always be somebody that I value. And dude, as a dad, I'm kind of, I mean, you might be able to tell from the blog and from the things that I say and the things that I write that I'm kind of easygoing. I'm really easy to get along with. If you don't get along with me, like, you're pretty much not something with you. I try to be really accommodating. And the reason why I try to be accommodating is because I want it to be the type of situation where if you don't like me or if you have a problem with me, I want to know 100%, oh, it's you. It's not me. So I don't like to do things that, like, afterwards somebody's like, I don't like James Guttman. You know, why? Well, he called me a name or he did. Like, I don't want them to have reasons that make sense. I want their reasons to be weird. So I try to be nice to everybody. I don't want to put negativity into the world. I want to be the type of person that puts better things into the world than I take out of it. Um, so I go out of my way to be positive, and I go out of my way for my daughter to see that. She knows, and I've talked to her about this. I mean, I said before, her grades are insane. Her work ethic is insane. But I remember I said to her one day, I go, listen, the thing that you need to do is you need to be pleasant. You need to be able to get along with people. I said, because it doesn't matter. And this is some of my dadly advice that I annoy people with. I said, you have the best grades in the world. You can have degrees from everywhere. Like, you can have, like, masters and PhDs. I go, if nobody wants to work with you, you're never going to be successful. You're not going to make any money. You need to be able to get along with people. That's the most important thing. I said, there's things that, I've gotten work and I've worked with different people on projects that I know I'm probably not the best one in the world to do, but I'm easy to work with. I'm humble. I will apologize when I'm wrong. I'll go out of my way to really just show people that I'm doing everything I can to help the situation. I'm not gruff. I don't push things away. I don't, not take responsibility. I don't pass the buck. I do whatever I can to let everybody know that when I'm with you and whether it's personal or professional, I'm there 100%. And I've watched my daughter grow into just an amazing, amazing person. And I'll tell you this. So years ago, when we had said, don't write about her, I was telling somebody about this. I'm like, yeah, I don't really write about Olivia. I'm like, because she asked me not to. And this person asked me, she goes, well, when was the last time you asked her? I was like, huh. And I realized that I hadn't. I had said things to her like, I wish I could write about you more, one day, maybe when you're ready. But I would never be like, can I write about you this week? And I did. She said yes. I was so happy to share her with you guys and to hear from everybody about how she's grown. Because just like Lucas, man, this blog has been around since February 2017. She was 8 years old. She's 17 now. Lucas was 5 and he's 14. So every week of my life, I've written something about my life. So you guys have grown with me. You've watched these things. I've taken podcast weeks off before, not a ton. I mean, since 2019, we have like 250 episodes. But I've never, when it comes to the blog, there's never been a week I've missed. I've missed a day on a holiday. Sometimes like on a Monday holiday, I won't do it or something like that. But every single week, there's never been a missed week. So every single week of my life, you've seen it and you've watched and you've seen how we've grown and how we've learned and how we're there for each other. I'm so proud. I really am. I'm proud of the work that we've done. And there's a lot to this, I know the blog is mostly about autism appreciation because I think that's one of the most important things ever. And it's my duty to my son to be able to put him into a world that sees him differently than I feared they would. I mean, that's the whole goal, right? Like, one day I'm going to be dead. My son's going to live in this world. People are difficult to deal with sometimes. I want them to know this kid is amazing. And if I can do whatever I can now to use my writing to be able to show people and talk about him and tell people about him, that's a win. And that's something that when I'm gone, we'll be able to follow him. But there's so much more to our story than that. There's the idea of being positive. There's my quintuple bypass when I was 35, which I am going to talk about on here at some point. I want to do a specific audio just for it. Just kind of tell you guys the story and bring you through everything that went through with it. But there's a lot of positivity and there's a lot of growth. And I feel like I've gone through a lot of growth. And I think one of the most important things in my life has been to really acknowledge it and to be proud of myself when good things happen, because I still struggle with that, man. I'm still trying to talk to myself in a better voice. I've done this. I've had moments where, like, let's say I'll misplace something. I can't find my bottle of water. And I'm like, oh, you idiot. You can't even find your bottle of water. What the hell's wrong with you? I'm saying this in my head. And then I'll realize it, right? Now, this is the first step of kind of evolving. And I'll go to myself, why do you talk to yourself like that? And now I feel enlightened, right? But then I followed up in my head by being like, you idiot, why do you talk bad to yourself? You're such a moron. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing it. I'm talking bad to myself about talking bad to myself. And then it becomes a cycle and you get out of it. Um, I want to be happy. And I find that when I'm happy, my kids are happy. My world is happy. I feel good. I don't feel stressed out. And it's about how we feel about ourselves. It's about the people that we surround ourselves with. Because the way you see yourself is how you build your life, right? If you think of yourself as kind of like angry, and you're going to find people like that, and you're going to put them around you. But if you say to yourself, "Oh, I'm a good person, and I'm positive, and I'm there for the people around me," you're going to find somebody, whether it's a friend, again, a relationship, anybody in your circle that's positive and that's good, and that's somebody that you want to be proud of yourself with. It's important. Yeah, and it's one of those things that especially these last few weeks, I've been thinking about it, and being able to write about Olivia and being able to do these things, it's made me feel very proud of kind of what we built here, and not just in the blog and things like that, but my family. I'm so proud of everybody, as you guys know, and maybe you don't, because I get a lot of questions about it. If you Google me, it was one of the first questions: James Guttman married? I'm divorced. I got divorced while writing this blog. I was married when the blog began. I got divorced in 2020 during COVID. So it was a rough quarantine in the house. But it changed my life and it changed my setup. I will tell you this: I'm lucky in that my ex-wife and we share custody of the kids. I trust her to take care of the kids. There's not really a lot of issues here and there. I mean, obviously, when you go through a divorce, there's going to be things back and forth. What do you do? Why are you doing that? But overall, like I know they're fed. I know they have a roof over their head. I know they're clothed. She knows the same thing with me. And sometimes that's really the most important thing to know. So that's a good thing. But there's been changes and there's been different things that have just happened in my life. And I feel like at the end of it, I've popped out of it kind of a good person, a better person for it, And it's just been constant states of evolving. And I've written about all of those evolutions. I wrote about autism appreciation. I wrote about going through the divorce. I wrote about my heart surgery, and even rewinding the clock. I wrote about one of my best friends passing away in 2004. My friend Chris. I think about him every day still. It was a very difficult passing, and these things that we go through that make us who we are. And I'll tell you, man, I've been through a lot. I'm happy about who I am. I'm happy about who my kids are, and I'm happy about the world that we've created for ourselves and the people that we bring into it. And everybody out there listening right now, you are some of the people that we've brought into it. You are some of the people that I work for, people that I want to be able to either change your opinion about autism, but at the same time, I also want to be able to tell you about my kid. I want to be able to give people the resources they might need to maybe send one of these blogs to their in-laws or to their coworkers. Like, hey, you have questions about my kid? This blog kind of talks a little bit about a child similar. I want to put good out there. I want to do good things in the world, and you guys have allowed me to do that, and you've made me feel really good about myself. This has been it's been a journey. So thank you for all the support too for High World. I'm Down, the book right here. Bada boom, it is out. It is available. I know there's a glitch, I think, on some of these sites where they have the wrong release date, but June 19th, it's out. Do me a favor, go to Spotify, Audible. You can listen to what's it called, audiobook. That's available. Just like tons of things to share with you guys, and I can't thank you enough for all you've done to really just, I don't know, give my life a meaning that I'm really proud of. So thank you. That does it for me. I'm going to be back next Friday with a brand new edition of High Pod. I'm Dad. We're going to be here throughout the week. High Blog. I'm Dad. Monday, Wednesday. Follow me on social media. We're posting more than ever. It's on Instagram and on Facebook and on Threads. I go on Threads every once in a while. I have it. Hi, James Guttman. H-I. Hi, James Guttman. Come on. Check it out. Drop me a line. Thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for all you guys have done. Until next week, this is James Guttman saying, be well. Bye, Pod. I'm Dad.